Your reporter Linda Mnisi on the scene for you joins us now live. Linda, good morning to you. What can you see there?
All right, Stephen, so at this moment, the bodies are still on scene, and I'll step out of shot just to give you a brief look, a brief sight of what is happening. Emergency medical services teams are still on site. Those bodies are covered just next to that bus that overturned over there. We understand at this moment that about 12 people lost their lives in that tragic accident. A lot of them, are female, and at this very moment, traffic is being redirected and other cars aren't allowed to come close to this particular area. We're told the bus was leaving Ekurhuleni and going to Kempton Park. And from some of the people that we've managed to speak to upon arrival at the scene, they were telling us that they were inside the bus and the bus was packed. It was speeding from what they were telling us. And at some point there was a car that came into the way of the bus. And when the bus driver tried to avoid it, it then led to the bus, overturning and a number of people injured, as well as those 12 individuals losing their lives. So at this very moment, authorities are still dealing with that particular scene, really, just making sure that all the bodies are covered. As you can imagine, this is a moment where they will basically have to wait for forensic pathologists, after the confirmation, of course, of the deaths of those 12 individuals. They will then have to come to the scene, start with the preliminary investigations to get a sense of what exactly happened. From then on, they will be then embarking on the process of removing those bodies from the scene. You see a chopper from the EMPD and other various EMPD officials who are stationed at various parts of this particular area to ensure that there isn't really any disturbance to the scene that is currently being dealt with. So from what we know at this very moment, and we understand we're going to be getting a briefing at a later stage, is that this incident happened this morning when the bus was traveling to Kempton Park, ferrying people that were going to work this morning, ferrying people that were going to various destinations, but particularly in Kempton Park. So at the moment, Stephen, that is what we're seeing here on the ground. Initial reports, Stephen, suggested that there were people also entrapped in this particular bus. But upon arrival at the scene, we're seeing that a number of people were able to escape or to leave the bus. In fact, the gentleman that I spoke to said because he was standing, that's when he was able to quickly leave the bus. He says the people that were seated on the right side of the bus are the ones that were largely affected by this. Many of them couldn't get out of the bus on time, and ultimately that left them in this particular position. So that is what we're getting at this very moment. It's still an active scene, which means that authorities here, law enforcement, medical services are still going to be here for quite some time. For those who have survived this tragic accident, they still have to wait for their belongings, because they're saying that they are unable to go home after being attended to, because some of their belongings are still in the bus. So they're waiting for a way forward in terms of what will happen next. But we'll, in a moment now, be getting a briefing from the authorities here in Ekurhuleni to really get a sense of, what it is that happened here, how it happened, and of course, what is the way forward. It's still very early to determine really what could have caused the accident. As you may know, in such situations, Stephen, authorities have to conduct investigations. They have to get a sense of what happened, and that means that this area will remain cordoned off for quite some time. This is one of the major routes here, and of course it will remain closed for quite some time. We're going to try to move, Stephen, to get a sense of what the authorities are saying at this very moment. And of course, this is in light of the fact that there's still very little information about the actual incident and how exactly it happened. So authorities are briefing us here at the scene to kind of give us a sense of what it is and how the incident took place. So we're going to try and of course move to this particular direction where we try and get a sense of how everything happened leading up to this point. Thank you so much for your time. We're at the scene, and the very initial question really is, what happened?
Yeah, we got an indication in the morning that there's been an accident. Our bus has overturned at R21. We had to rush here to the scene only to find out that there are fatalities, and they would have confirmed that 9 males and 3 females would have passed away, and 45 other passengers would have been rushed to various neighboring hospitals that are close to the area. We are also saddened. It's an accident. We are also relying on the police and the investigators and the authorities to conduct a thorough investigation and give us a report of what actually would have transpired.
So from what we're hearing, there's some people who are suggesting that at the time of this incident, the bus may have been overloaded. Can you confirm that?
No, it's not true, because if you make your own calculations, 45 rushed to hospital plus 12, you will get something like 56. And our bus capacity is 65 sitting and 20 standing. So they were still within the number that is prescribed.
Yeah. And your driver, how is he doing?
Yeah, we are informed that he has been rushed to hospital. We will send our officials to go and get a sense of his condition, and we will be able to give feedback once we've also got an indication of what actually happened from him.
Just a quick one. Just give us the history of this bus or other buses. It's the bus that you own as the city, and then where was it from? Where was it going to?
Yeah, the bus is confirmed as owned by the city. It was taking passengers from Ekurhuleni to Kempton Park. So it travels on daily basis in this particular route to take the passengers to their destination. It's just that today it became unfortunate, an accident occurred, and we are indeed going to find out what happened through the investigative processes.
How often do these incidents happen? You speak about this being, the route that it usually takes, but how often do such accidents actually take place? I'm not necessarily talking about fatalities, but where your buses are involved in an accident.
We've never had accident cases for such a long time, especially when it involves drivers and passengers. We've never had. Hence, we are shocked today what really transpired, and we don't want to reach into a certain conclusion without have gathered facts. But we always make sure that we monitor the movement of our buses. Bus drivers are credible and they are roadworthy, and we conduct a continuous inspection to make sure that our buses are fit for purpose. So it's something that does not happen on regular basis. Hence, I'm saying I've never, since I've become an MMC, it's towards the second year now in the city, we've never been involved in any accident that involves buses and our passengers.
And the process of tracing loved ones, has that begun?
Yeah, they will have begun. The authorities will have conducting their search to get a sense who are these deceased, so that they can be able to trace their families. Once they've concluded that particular point, they will also advise us on the way forward on what is it that should happen.
All right. I want to bring in the spokesperson of the EMPD, Mr. William Ndladi, to kind of speak to us for a moment there. William, thank you so much for your time. This is indeed a tragic, accident, and I want to get a sense of, the times at which this particular incident happened. Do you know what time?
Oh yes, emergency services. We received the call 6:45 this morning. Then the nearest fire station, which is Albertina Sisulu Fire Station and Kempton Park, responded immediately to the scene. So it was clearly said that now it's R21 northbound. That tells us that now as to how to come onto the freeway. So yes, definitely we arrived on scene and we found that now the single vehicle, the bus itself, was on its side and patients were lying across. So then with other stakeholders from the ambulance services, we managed to start now doing our medical checkup, rescue and recovery. And with that, unfortunately, 12 of the passengers were medically checked and unfortunately declared deceased on scene. So, and the 45 driver included of the bus were they sustained critical, minor to critical injuries and were transported by various ambulances to various hospitals across the city.
There were initial reports that suggested that there were entrapments. Do you know if there's still any people trapped?
Definitely, out of the 12 that are still there as well, 2 of them are still inside the wreckage. That can be confirmed. So once the entire investigation on the vehicle is done before it's been removed for rehabilitation, then rescue services with the jaws of life hydraulic tools will have to cut the vehicle, the bus, get inside and remove those who are still trapped inside.
How long will that process take? Do you know?
Look, as soon as the investigators, the forensics and everybody is done, definitely we will go inside and we'll be able to see. It's a huge vehicle, so we'll just have to also still practice safety so that now we don't get anyone of the officials who will be operating to get hurt. But definitely, as soon as that is done, then we will be removing those still trapped inside and rehabilitation will commence.
Do you think you've accounted for everybody that was in that bus, or there is a possibility maybe that there may be other people that are still there?
Look, we have done our utmost level best, and we believe that now everyone is basically removed. So except those 2 who are still inside, hence we can count and say those 2 are still trapped inside. And as soon as we start with the rehabilitation, cut-out, rescue, recovery, we will be able to get them out and let the necessary vehicles and department take them to an appropriate facility.
And I'm sure you've already contacted forensic pathologists. How long will that process take? We see they haven't arrived at the scene.
Yes, usually we let them come to the scene. But since we know that now we haven't basically removed the other 2, then we haven't yet activated them to come to the scene. So what is actually happening is we always make them to be on standby, such that now as soon as we are ready for the bodies to be removed on scene, then they can come and just load and go to the necessary facility.
And of course, lastly, the investigations will start. Who will be carrying out this investigation? I see at the moment it's still your officials, the EMPD. There isn't any SAPS members. Will this investigation be conducted by yourselves, or will it be conducted by the SAPS or even forensic pathologists?
Not really a forensic pathologist, but the forensic investigators. So definitely they are there on scene. They are checking on the vehicle as we speak now, working together with Metro Police officers. So both teams, that is SAPS, and then with Sandral is also on site. Definitely the team will work together to find out as to exactly what might have caused the crash.
All right, thank you very much. That is Willem Tladi there, Stephen, talking to us about what is currently happening here at the scene on the R21 northbound, explaining, the call that they received early this morning. It's been a couple of hours since this incident took place, and as you can see, from what we're able to see from where we are, they're constantly asking us to move back because, of course, the officials and the authorities are still busy with their own investigations. And of course, that question about entrapment, it seems 2 people are still entrapped in that particular bus. So it means that at this very moment, from those that are covered right on the road, on the side of the bus. I'll ask my colleague Ekurhuleni to just move to the side with me so that you can get a clearer picture of what it looks like from here. So from where we are standing, it seems about 10 bodies are still on the road. They're all covered there, just next to those officials that you're seeing. Ekurhuleni, my colleague, is showing you those visuals right now. And at the moment, officials are working to ensure that they get the 2 other bodies that are still entrapped in this particular vehicle. You would have heard from what I said earlier on, from the conversation that I had with some of the people that survived. They said they were able to quickly go out of that particular vehicle, but it seems some of them were not able to go out, and that has meant that they have lost their lives. So Stephen, that is what we're getting at this very moment from the scene. Cars still blocking the freeway, and seemingly something that's going to take place for quite a while.
Nisi, for that comprehensive update, thank you very much indeed.